The very air crackled, not with the usual tension of a superhero clash, but with a suffocating, alien energy that seemed to consume light itself. It was a hue of deep, fiery crimson, an inferno that pulsed with the heart of a dead star. And at its center stood Scott Summers, Cyclops, but he was no longer the disciplined leader we knew. He was something else entirely, something ancient and terrible, cloaked in the cosmic might of the Dark Phoenix. This wasn't the first time the Phoenix Force had visited Earth, nor was it the first time it had possessed one of the X-Men. But this instance, born from a desperate attempt to contain a cosmic entity, took a turn no one could have predicted. The Phoenix had been fractured, divided among 5 heroes, the so-called Phoenix Five, of whom Cyclops was a part. They had tried to harness its power for good, to rebuild a broken world. But as often happens with power beyond measure, it corrupted. Slowly, inexorably, the Phoenix Force twisted their intentions, their judgment, their very beings. Then came the moment that changed everything. In a climactic confrontation, the remaining fragments of the Phoenix Force, now intensely focused, were absorbed by Cyclops from his former comrade, Emma Frost. With that final absorption, he didn't just become more powerful, he transcended. The controlled, measured leader became a being of pure, unchecked cosmic might, a living embodiment of destruction and rebirth on a scale that dwarfed all understanding. He was no longer simply Cyclops with the Phoenix Force. He was the Dark Phoenix, a force of nature draped in the skin of a man. The heroes of Earth, the assembled might of the Avengers and the X-Men, stood arrayed against him. They were veterans of countless battles, facing threats from every corner of the universe. Yet, as Cyclops, the Dark Phoenix, stood before them, a chilling realization dawned. This was different. This was not a villain to be reasoned with, nor a monster to be simply punched into submission. This was a force of cosmic indifference, focused on reshaping reality to its whim, and the heroes were simply in the way. What followed was a display of power that has since become legend, a stark and terrifying demonstration of ultimate potential. Cyclops, as the Dark Phoenix, moved with an unholy speed, his every gesture reshaping the environment, his optic blasts now capable of tearing through the very fabric of existence. Dozens of heroes, each formidable in their own right, fell before him. Even the mighty Thor, the god of thunder, who had weathered blows from celestial beings and world devourers, found his hammer, Mjolnir, useless against the fiery might. He was struck down, his godly strength overwhelmed by a force that felt like the birth pangs of a universe. Red Hulk, a creature of immense brute force and destructive energy, was similarly dismissed, his rage and power nothing more than a flicker against the Phoenix's inferno. It was a systematic dismantling, not of an army, but of an entire collective of legends. Heroes who had once stood shoulder to shoulder against galactic threats were now scattered, defeated, or simply held at bay by the overwhelming presence of one man. It was a horrifying spectacle, a moment where the lines between hero and villain blurred into a single terrifying truth. Absolute power had been unleashed, and it seemed unstoppable. The very air vibrated with the despair of those who had fought so bravely, only to find their best efforts utterly meaningless. In that moment of darkest triumph, when all hope seemed lost, 2 figures emerged as the unlikely final stand. One was the Scarlet Witch, Wanda Maximoff, whose own history with reality-altering power made her uniquely equipped to face a cosmic force. The other was Hope Summers, a young woman with an intrinsic, almost spiritual connection to the Phoenix Force itself, and, ironically, the adoptive daughter of Cyclops. Their combined efforts represented the last desperate chance. It was a battle not of brute strength, but of will and cosmic manipulation. Scarlet Witch, with her chaos magic, attempted to unravel the connection between Scott and the Phoenix Force, while Hope, channeling her own innate power, sought to draw the entity away from the man she had once called father. It was a grueling, agonizing struggle, a cosmic tug-of-war that shook the foundations of reality.
The emotional weight of the moment was immense, particularly for Hope, who had to confront a corrupted version of the man who had guided her, knowing that to save the world, she had to tear apart the very essence of him. Finally, with a blinding flash of light and a roar that echoed through the cosmos, they succeeded. The Phoenix Force was ripped from Scott Summers, leaving him broken, exhausted, and human once more. His reign of cosmic terror, born from good intentions and corrupted by unimaginable power, had ended. This tale of Dark Phoenix Cyclops is more than just a grand battle. It's a profound reflection on the nature of power itself. It asks us to consider what happens when even the most disciplined among us, the most dedicated to a cause, are granted a force beyond their comprehension. It was a stunning, terrifying display of a hero's ultimate, godlike potential, twisted and turned into a force of overwhelming destruction. It reminds us that power, unchecked and unconstrained, can consume even the brightest of lights. What are your thoughts on this extraordinary moment in comic history? Did you witness this cosmic showdown unfold? Share your reflections in the comments below. We love hearing from you and diving deeper into these incredible stories together. Until next time, keep exploring the boundless wonders of the superhero universe.